Okay, so the last time when we were at the shop, you were telling me about the first time that you saw a motorcycle, when you saw the tack cable and.
Oh yeah, okay.
So start there.
I told you that already.
You started to, no, and
Oh.
it shut off halfway through.
Well, the first motorcycle I remember seeing was when I was about 12, and I was in Provo, Utah, and I could figure it out from my bicycle because it had a front wheel and an engine and a transmission and a chain and a rear sprocket and then a little gearbox and a cable running up to the speedometer. And I knew how that stuff worked from my bicycle. So that evening I was back at the rooming house we lived at, and I was telling some old guy about it. He said, "Oh, you're full of crap, kid. Speeder runs off the front wheel." So every time I'd look at a motorcycle, I'd reaffirm my position. Finally, years later, I figured out he was an old guy from World War I, and they did run off the front wheel when he was fooling with them, but I'd already been hooked by then.
Yeah.
I've been fooling with motorcycles ever since. Yeah.
How old were you when that? How old were you?
12.
So that would have been 25, 35, 36, 37.
About 1937.
Yeah. So you did, that was the first bike you saw, and then you got in the Navy, so that was when you were 12, so 3 years later you got in the Navy.
Yeah, but before that, did I tell you about being in Tennessee and Florida and all that?
And all your moving around. Yeah, we did that
Okay.
one already.
Okay, then
But,
you know.
and we kind of went through the Navy stuff, so, as far as your 9 years in the Navy and what you did there, but that you did, or 7 years. 7 years or 9 years?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years in the Navy.
And then you did Navy.
I was in 6 years, and I was due to get out, and I was riding my motorcycle and sidecar up to Long Beach to get out of the Navy the next day, and going up there, I stopped and picked up a sailor who was hitchhiking, and he rode in a sidecar, and I'm riding along, and we're at Seal Beach, and it's the middle of I think it was May or June. Whenever it was crowded, and some lady decided to make a left turn across all that traffic and slammed on the brakes, and on the freeway, I mean, it was 4 lanes, and I kept stretching to the right to miss hitting anything, and I got all the way over on the edge of the road, but just before I got to the edge, why the sidecar nose hit the bumper of the car ahead of me, and I was almost stopped. It just flipped up in the air, and then the sidecar fell on my foot that was sticking up and twisted my leg in two. It didn't hurt the guy in the sidecar, but it hurt. It broke my leg. So they got a ambulance out and hauled me up to the Navy hospital, and I stayed there. Well, first they fixed my leg. Well, this doc was setting my leg, and I was watching him. Oh, he says, "You can't do that," and he put a fence up in front of my eye so I couldn't see what he was doing. Well, it didn't much matter, but anyway, he said, "Okay, we're all through," and he yanked the thing down, and they went over and started washing up. And I'm looking at my feet, and they were like that. And I says, "Doc, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm washing up, I'm through." I said, "You're not through." "What do you mean?" I said, "I mean, my foot's crooked." I said, "I had these all my life, and they ain't a pair now." "Oh," he says, "you're full of baloney." And so he come over and looked, and he said, so he told the corpsman, "Cut the cast down the middle." So the guy's cutting along with the scalpel. I said, "You cut me?" I says, "No, I didn't." He lifted his scalpel up and dropped blood come off. He cut me. So, anyway, I said, "Doc, you grab a hold of that leg, and when I tell you to stop, you stop. You turn it to the right, toward the other one." And so when it got to be there, I said, "Stop, you're fine." And he did. But I'm glad I noticed that.
Yeah, that's that was a good thing. Jesus.
Yep.
Okay, so you got in the Navy, you got out of the Navy, 7 years, you're riding your bike. When did you get your first bike? Your first bike?
My first bike was the day I got back from overseas. I went out first. I told my 17th birthday I was in Reykjavik, Iceland. I was in Argentia, Newfoundland when the war started. And then we went to Reykjavik, Iceland, and I spent my 17th birthday in Reykjavik, Iceland, my 18th birthday in Casablanca, and my 19th birthday in Panama, and 20 and 21 in the islands down 2 degrees from the equator. I was on a tanker, and we refueled all the ships for the Battle of the Coral Sea. And we were stationed tanker in Manus in the Admiralty Islands for a year and 12 days. Then we went to New Guinea and stayed a while, and we went to Morotai and the Halmahera group and a couple other islands, and then we went to the Philippines. And we were stationed tanker there for 6 months. That was an interesting thing. We refueled a Japanese destroyer that was going back to Japan, and when they pushed off they had bamboo poles. They pushed that destroyer away from our ship with bamboo poles. I thought that was pretty unique. I didn't realize that bamboo was that strong until I saw that.
And then your whole time while you were, was it on the tanker ship that you were making chessboards and stuff?
On a tanker, I made knives and rings, and then I became the official ship's photographer because I had I'd bought a camera in Panama, an old used Kodak, and so I made an enlarger out of a camera lens, and had a hell of a time getting ground glass. I had to take valve grinding paste and grind the glass together to get an opaque surface. And then I made 8 by 10 enlargements, and I got some of them out in the garage. They're still good. It's been 60 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Maybe more, I don't know. Anyway, a long time. But did that, and I made money doing those things. Making knives, making rings, making photographs, and playing poker. Played poker for a year and a half, almost every night, for a couple hours. And so I didn't draw a payday for a year and a half. So when I got back to the States, the first day, I was in San Francisco. My schedule was to get me a gal, get me a motorcycle, get me a milkshake. So I missed out on the girl, but I got the milkshake and the motorcycle. In the city of San Francisco, there was 2 used Harleys for sale. One was a 61 and the other one was a 45. I bought the 61. Well, I had so much junk I'd haul back home that I wanted to have a sidecar and haul it down to El Cajon. So I did that. I went to Hap Jones and bought a sidecar, and they installed it. and I put all my junk in a sidecar and rode down from San Francisco to El Cajon. And I stayed a month, and I said, wow, man, this is great. I could ride my motorcycle all year long here. I think I'm going to stay here. And I did.
That would be around like 1947-ish,
It would be
1948.
Exactly, 1947.
Yeah.
47.
So you got here in 47 with your Harley with a sidecar in El Cajon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I stayed. I went looking for a job.